Residents of the South Sudanese town of Juba are still celebrating the results of a referendum to separate them from North Sudan. Election officials confirmed on Monday that almost 99% of voters did back secession. And Sudan's President Omar al-Bashir has formally accepted the split from the north. South Sudan will officially become Africa and the world's newest nation in July. A Chechen rebel leader has claimed responsibility for the suicide bombing that killed 36 people at Russia's busiest airport last month. Doku Umarov has promised more violence as well until Russia's Caucasus region becomes an independent emirate governed by Sharia law. Niv Barker with this report from Moscow.
This is the mastermind behind the deadly attack at the country's busiest airport. Doku Umarov is the nearest thing to a leader across the North Caucasus' many insurgent groups and the Kremlin's enemy number one.
This special operation was carried out by my orders. These kind of special operations will be carried out in the future. There are hundreds of brothers among us who are ready to sacrifice themselves.
This is the moment the attack happened in the international arrivals hall of Domodedovo Airport. 36 people, Russian and foreign citizens, were killed. Officials have identified a 20-year-old from the North Caucasus as the bomber. In another video last week, Umarov vowed a year of blood and tears. The man sitting on the right of the screen is believed to have been the Domodedovo suicide bomber. Nobody knows how many fighters Umarov commands, but it's thought to be near 1,000. Many are hiding out in the mountains and forests of Dagestan, Chechnya and Ingushetia. Umarov and his followers say they'll stop at nothing to secure an independent Islamic state across the North Caucasus. The Kremlin, though, say that they will eliminate the insurgents. The cycle of violence is set to continue. Niv Barker, Al Jazeera, Moscow.
News from Asia still to come. We'll look at thawing tensions on the Korean peninsula as rivals North and South hold their first talks since last year's deadly attack on a southern island. And back in court, WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange arrives for the second day of fighting extradition to Sweden.
Hello, welcome to another look at the international forecast. We've got some fabulous sunny weather across central parts of Europe at the moment. It is absolutely gorgeous through central and southern areas, right down into the Mediterranean. Push further north, we've got some very strong winds and long line of cloud coming in across northern Germany into the Baltic states. Nice little hook on our cloud here, and is indicative of a rather active cold front which is making its way through. So strong winds across Scandinavia. This will push this nasty weather right the way across into western Russia. -1 the top temperature there for Moscow, which is on the warm side. We'll take that. -3 there for Stockholm, generally dry. Not so dry over towards the northwest. It's still pretty windy as well. A keen southwesterly wind coming in across the United Kingdom, but temperatures getting up to maybe 10 Celsius, 12 Celsius there for the Parisian walkways. Similar values as we go on into the second half of the week. Still a little disturbed too into northwestern parts of Europe, if the truth be known. And we will see more in the way of snow coming down across Sweden and Norway. Look at that for a temperature drop. -13 in Moscow as we go through Thursday. Cold, even by Russian standards. To the south, it's fine and it's dry. There may be a few showers to come into the far north of Libya, but that aside, plenty of sunshine. We'll see temperatures in Cairo at around 20 degrees Celsius.
He's taken stolen goods and he's now dumping them onto the world without any sort of consideration for consequences.
From people making the news.
If the North will be saved a lot of trouble, I think it is important that they should come together.
To those it affects.
We do accept that there was very bad mistakes made in our banking area.
Behind the headlines.
Most South Koreans are not interested in reunification.
Is the inside story. At this time on Al Jazeera.
Volunteer tourism is booming in Cambodia, with more and more foreigners helping out in the country's orphanages and schools. But with claims of mismanagement and corruption, are these projects doing more harm than good? 101 East at this time on Al Jazeera.
Top stories for you here on Al Jazeera. Thousands of demonstrators continue to rally in downtown Cairo in protest at the government of Hosni Mubarak. In the last couple of hours, Vice President Omar Suleiman also appeared on television promising constitutional reforms and immunity from prosecution for demonstrators. Also in the region, Tunisia's politicians have voted to give the country's interim president more emergency powers. It means Fouad Mebaza now has the power to rule by decree and sidestep parliament until the next round of elections. It comes after the main ruling party, the RCD, was suspended from all political activity. So as countries like Tunisia and Egypt ask themselves where to next, one country in the region has already fashioned itself as a role model for successful democracy. The reason? Well, Turkey appears so far to have successfully married its secular institutions with a majority Muslim society. More from Anita McNaught.
When the euphoria of regime toppling wears off, then practical questions emerge. What's a new government going to look like? Across the Middle East, the answer increasingly is something like Turkey. Mustafa Kemal Ataturk was the enlightened dictator all the strongmen of the Middle East have tried to emulate. None have pulled it off. 73 years after his death, he's still revered by many Turks. And it's the secular system he laid the groundwork for, balancing democracy, Islam, modernity and progress, that's now being looked at with fresh eyes in the Middle East.
The Arab intelligentsia 10 years ago would poo-poo Turkey because, we have sold our soul to the West and we have lost our backbone under Kemalism and all this, are now rapidly revising their views about all this and coming around to asking questions like, well, Turkey is 99% Muslim, how come it can do this, you see? And we can't.
A study just released by Turkish think tank TESEV of public opinion in 7 Arab countries and Iran shows 2/3 of people surveyed think Turkey can be a role model for the Middle East.
Some of it is stemming from what we are doing, and in terms of economy, in terms of politics, and in terms of cultural engagement with the region.
Turkey's rising living standards have put neighbouring governments to shame. Average income in Turkey has tripled under the ruling AKP, according to IMF data. In Egypt, by comparison, average incomes have risen only $5 in 2 decades. And Turkey's new warm relations with old foes like Syria and joint ventures like this dam on the Turkey-Syria border inaugurated on Sunday enable Turkey to project soft power diplomatically, while Turkish Prime Minister Tayyip Erdogan's harder line with Israel has made him a hero on the Arab street. But the clincher for Turkey has been a marriage of Islam and democracy that, contrary to Western fears, so far has improved human rights. The TESEV study showed Turkey the most liked and respected country of the 8 surveyed. But many of Turkey's citizens would say their country still has a long way to go to live up to its top billing. Anita McNaught, Al Jazeera, Istanbul.
Interesting topic, which we're going to talk further about with Ihsan Dagi, who is a professor of international relations at the Middle East Technical University in Ankara. Thank you for your time. I don't think you could ever hold up one country and say, this is how you do it, this will work. However, you can't argue with Turkey's success, can you?
Well, certainly Turkey is a success story as far as its democracy is concerned, as far as its economic development is concerned. In the region, it's looked up to by people. So Turkey, I think, has something to offer to the people in the Middle East who aspire for greater democracy and greater welfare. I think, but still, we should not really exaggerate the role modelship of Turkey, because I think the Arab people are tired of being imposed upon themselves the models externally. But but certainly that does not mean that Turkey doesn't have anything to offer. First of all, I think Turkey can really prove that the Arab people do not have to choose between authoritarian government and Islamist regime. There is a third option, and that third option is representative government, accountable government. So we can say that Turkish experience may offer a third way for the Middle Eastern people who aspire for greater democracy in the Middle East.
Do the people in Turkey feel looked after by their government? Because I'd suggest that the people in Egypt would say, no, our government hasn't looked after us, they've got all the money stays at the top and doesn't work its way down to us. Has part of Turkey's success been the fact that it actually looks after the concerns of its people?
Well, I mean, Turkey has been democracy for the last 60 years or so, with some intervals of military interventions. But at the moment, we can say that Turkey is a